rock-bound, salt-sprayed, remote, romantic, and real. This is a lighthouse for all seasons. The Nibble is truly inspirational. This lonely vigil standing alone seems to have a spirit. Welcome to the Nibble Lighthouse. Its official name is the Cape Nedic Light Station. It is most commonly known as the Nibble. Surrounded by breaking surf and cawing gulls, this natural beauty is one of the first places visited when tourists come to Maine. Here is where a condition of mind sets in. Perhaps it symbolizes the Maine philosophy, the way life should be. As one begins to absorb its beauty, a feeling of peace and tranquility appears to take over. The Nibble is lofty, it's impressive, and it has a majestic character. It is called the Nibble because of its location. It was built on an island considered a nub, or knob of land, at the end of a small peninsula, known as Cape Nedic Point, a place where the land ends and the sea begins. This light station was built in 1879 at a cost of $15,000. It has been shining ever since. It was constructed to withstand Mother Nature at her worst. A 41-foot tower sits on solid granite, 88 feet above the water. It was built with 2 layers of solid brick, reinforced by an overlay wrap of cast iron sheeting. The tower base is 13 feet in diameter. The floor is brick. 33 circular steel stairs had to be climbed by the keeper, sometimes as much as several times a day, to reach the first of 2 steel platforms. The first platform is where the keeper slept during storms. His only visibility and ventilation were 2 tiny portholes. An 8-step steel ladder takes us to the top level. We are now in the glass tower that houses the beacon. In 1938, 2 powerful 1,000-watt bulbs replaced the old kerosene vapor oil lamps. These bulbs sit behind glass prisms, surrounded by a red plexiglass frame. One bulb flashes a red beacon every 3 seconds. The other bulb is used for backup. 3 seconds on, 3 seconds off. The Coast Guard refers to this as equal intervals. The range is approximately 13 nautical miles. A steel door hatch is the gateway to the outside platform. The platform is encircled by an iron railing supported by 12 posts. The crowning cap of each post is a black cast iron mold shaped in the form of the lighthouse tower, an artistic touch. The view is exceptional. On a clear day, visibility is approximately 14 miles. The keeper's house was built in the shape of a cross. The points on the roof are positioned to face north, south, east, and west. Local airline pilots check direction when flying over. Notice the gingerbread trim under the eaves. This adds a Victorian flavor to the design of the house. The foghorn is automated. When the weather closes in, it is triggered by the atmosphere. A peaceful, soothing tone sounds for 1 second every 10 seconds. Before 1961, the fog signal was a 1,200-pound bronze bell, which keepers had to hand wind. The old bell had a clockwork mechanism of weights and chains activating a striker. The entire unit was housed in a wooden pyramid tower, which made for a more pleasant winding experience. When activated, the winding had to be done at 4-hour intervals. Before the automation in July of 1987, all keepers were on constant standby since the light and horn were turned on manually. The main house in which the keeper and his family lived is a pleasant 2-story, 6-room structure, 3 rooms on each floor. The living room, located on the first floor, faces the mainland. Many festive meals were eaten in the dining room. Fish and lobster caught off the point were prepared in various recipes in the large, well-equipped kitchen. A pantry and laundry room complete the first floor. Note the brick wall which adds support to the walkway leading to the tower, another example of solid construction to withstand the elements. As you enter the front door, a stairway to the left leads to 3 rooms on the second floor. On this floor is a master bedroom, a children's bedroom, what a view, and a guest room or office. The bathroom is saltwater flush. The bathroom and office share a common window with a partition in between. The cellar, with its dirt and granite floor, was once used for coal storage and for the stockpiling of vegetables. A modern-day heater now heats the building. In the early years, the building was heated by coal, which was hand-carried over to the island in 50-pound sacks. Water tanks held rainwater, 4,000 gallons collected by downspouts. This was the only water supply on the island. Baths were few and far between during a dry season. Several years ago, lead was detected in the rainwater. As a result, fresh water was pumped to the family by the York Beach Fire Department. Note the liner in the tank. Weather conditions caused long periods of isolation. A 30-day supply of food was kept on hand at all times. Modern-day keepers had the advantages of freezers. A small boathouse is tucked between a rocky crevice on the north side of the property. A 12-foot double-ended rowboat and a rubber raft were stored there. The raft was used 99% of the time for passage back and forth to the mainland. 2 rails attached to a ramp allowed the keeper to haul up the crafts for safe storage. Docking on the mainland is difficult. The boat is landed on smooth rocks and tied to a cleat. Many dunkings have taken place when seas were running heavy. At extreme low tide, a rock passageway is uncovered and can be used as a walkway. One has to watch the tides very closely, as this walkway rapidly disappears with the incoming tide. Note Whale Rock, the keeper's pet. Several boathouses have been swept out to sea during heavy storms. 42 stairs and a wooden ramp with skids lead to the main house. It's a long climb home. Wet weather, sleet, and ice made the going treacherous. A trolley system was installed for safety reasons as well as convenience. The bucket, originally hand-pulled, is now power-driven. Groceries and supplies were always sent over in the bucket. Seagulls had a feast attacking the groceries. A 30-day supply of groceries was purchased on each shopping trip. If the keeper left the property, he was given only 4 hours to do his errands. Weather was a big factor, and the light station had to be tended to at all times. The little red brick house is a Nibble landmark. At one time, oil to fuel the beacon was stored here. The red building now houses a backup generator which powers the island's needs if the town's supplied electricity fails. The white building is the workshop. Tools, supplies, and equipment to maintain the property are stored here. Many little projects were completed out here if a spouse felt the need to be alone. Together, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, can be confining. Keeping the light burning required a lot of patience and a true commitment from each and every family member. Repairs, painting, and keeping the light station spotless was a full-time job. At one time, this even included whitewashing the tower. Keepers could not fear height. Today, major repairs are assigned to special Coast Guard units. In 1911, the wooden passageway connecting the main house to the tower was added. This gave the keeper protection from the elements. Modern-day automation has closed this entrance. Access is now through a door on the outside of the tower. The last person alive that can claim the distinction of being born at the lighthouse is Barbara Fenimore. She was delivered by her grandma, Helen, wife of keeper Fairfield Moore, on March 20th, 1927. When Barbara arrived, Keeper Moore was in his 12-foot boat fighting hurricane-force surf with driving sleet as he tried to row Dr. Smith over to the island. Another event Keeper Moore lived through occurred on January 12, 1923. A severe storm had settled in. The ship Robert W., sailing out of Thomaston, Maine, was caught in stormy winds and heavy surf. She was driven around the southern point of the island, and she broke up 300 yards off of Long Sands Beach. All hands were saved. On the site of the wreck, there are now many rocks that divide the beach, a lasting memorial to the heroic men who made the rescue. When World War II broke out, the Nibble Light Station was converted into a small armed fortress. The cement foundations used for gun emplacements are still in place. In 1943, during a thick fog, a German U-boat surfaced off Nibble Point. The sub was chased 6 miles out to sea, just off Boone Island, and sunk by depth charges. Living on the island was like living in a goldfish bowl. Even though the keeper and his family were isolated, they could always see tourists, and the tourists certainly watched them. In 1977, NASA selected a photo of Nibble Light to travel on Voyager 2, currently one of 117 different photographs now traveling in space. Scuba divers and scuba diving schools swim off Nibble Point. The underwater visibility at this location is exceptional. Many weddings, from the simple to the elaborate, are performed here. Seasonal tourboats sail by on a daily schedule. The scenic trolley stops here. Fishing is popular. Most tour buses make this a priority place to visit. Thousands of people meditate here. Others come to rekindle memories. A major event occurring twice a year is the Christmas lighting. On the last Sunday in July, for one night only, tourists are treated to a preview of the holiday season. And on the Saturday following Thanksgiving, the lights are turned on again and remain on until the middle of January. At both events, band concerts, Santa Claus, and various forms of entertainment please the crowds. Local artists find the many moods of the Nibble enchanting. The Nibble is the most painted and photographed lighthouse in America. The Algren family were the last recorded keepers on the island before the light was automated. In 1989, a 30-year lease was signed between the town of York, Maine, and the U.S. Coast Guard. For $1 per year, the town has the rights to all the property, except the tower itself, which remains under the jurisdiction of the Coast Guard. The Town Park and Recreational Board maintains the complex. The Sawyer Park Committee, appointed by the York Selectmen, run the park and the Welcome Center. Over 40 volunteers donate their time and effort. All proceeds earned are turned back to the town to be used for the preservation and beautification of the lighthouse complex. Benches may be purchased in memory of a loved one. Gardens may also be set up as memorials. On October 19, 1996, the Coast Guard Authorization Act was passed by Congress and signed by the President. 36 Maine lighthouses can now be transferred to various entities. This will make it possible for the town of York to take title to Nibble Light. The navigation equipment will still be maintained by the Coast Guard. From sunrise to sunset, from moon to fog, through storm and calm, the Nibble Light beams on. This beautiful architectural monument conveys a message of trust, hope, and security to all of mankind. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow wrote in his poem, The Lighthouse, "The rocky ledge runs far into the sea, and on its outer point some miles away, the lighthouse lifts its massive masonry, a pillar of fire by night, of cloud by day. Even at this distance I can see the tides, upheaving, break unheard along its base, a speechless wrath that rises and subsides in the white lip and tremor of the face. And as the evening darkens, lo, how bright, through the deep purple of the twilight air, beams forth the sudden radiance of its light with strange unearthly splendor in the glare." Longfellow concluded with, "Sail on," it says, "sail on, ye stately ships, and with your floating bridge the ocean span. Be mine to guard this light from all eclipse, be yours to bring man nearer unto man."